Hello. I've chosen to do my fundamentalist modernist controversy video today on the Scopes monkey trial, which took place in July of 1925. It involved a gentleman by the name of John Scopes, who was a science teacher. He was accused of teaching evolution in his classroom in Dayton, Tennessee. There was a law in Tennessee in place at this time making it illegal to teach Darwin's theories of evolution in schools. That was known as the Butler Act, and it had just been passed shortly before this trial was put into play. The trial was really not about whether Mr. Scopes taught evolution. He was actually just filling in for another teacher who was on leave at the end of the year, and the book that he was using happened to mention evolutionary ideas, but he agreed to be kind of a test case as the ACLU was looking for a reason and an example to push this case and the case for evolution into the court systems. This trial became a national sensation as updates would regularly appear in all of the local media, but more importantly across the country in major newspapers such as the New York Times. Articles were regularly written and updated, giving information at the pre-trial stage as well as the trial stage and continuing after the trial and the consequences thereof. In one article in particular, the New York Times states that it was not really a trial about whether Mr. Scopes broke the law, but it was really a battle between evolution and religion, between fundamentalism and modernism, and liberalism versus conservatism. The case itself pitted John R. Neal and Clarence Darrow, who was an agnostic at the time, for the defense, defending Mr. Scopes, against E.T. Stewart, who was the prosecutor for the state, and William Jennings Bryan, who had been a famous American orator for many, many years. He had actually unsuccessfully ran for president 3 times, but was still regarded as one of the best speakers, perhaps arguably the best speaker in American history at this point in time. In another article in the New York Times, Bryan declared that if evolution wins, then Christianity goes. Both cannot survive. The trial itself really turned Dayton, Tennessee into a circus-like atmosphere, an event with hundreds and sometimes thousands of spectators coming in from everywhere. When Bryan himself arrived at the train station in Tennessee and Dayton there were approximately 300 people awaiting his arrival and cheering as he boarded the platform after leaving the train. He was paraded up and down the streets, was followed into local restaurants, and was almost a local celebrity at that point in time. And the reason this whole trial really contributed to this fundamentalist modernist debate revolved around the interpretation of Scripture. Bryan and the current law in Tennessee, the Butler Act, viewed Scripture in a literal light, which supported the fundamentalist view, while the ACLU didn't believe that Scripture should play a role in schools at all. Others, even on the modernist side, who did profess Christianity, believed more in a liberal interpretation of Scripture as opposed to a literal interpretation of those Scriptures. The judge assessed that the trial was not really about religion, but whether teachers should be allowed to teach topics that most scientific models of the day agreed on. And ultimately, the teacher was found guilty of breaking the law and fined $100, which was ultimately overturned by the Supreme Court of the state upon appeal. However, this trial brought the theories of Darwinism and other evolutionary scientists to the forefront of American minds and the stage, opening up many schools to adopt these theories as part of their curriculum, and this battle continues to this day.